The Saskatoon real estate market just reached another record high. But the headline doesn't tell the whole story. Prices are up, sales remain strong, and more listings are coming onto the market. Yet buyers are still dealing with some of the tightest conditions in the province. So, is the market starting to balance out, or are we heading into another competitive summer? In this video, I'll break down what happened in Saskatoon, Martensville, and Warman in June. Then we'll explain what these numbers mean for buyers, sellers, investors, and anyone planning a move to the Saskatoon area. I'm Joshua Boettcher, award-winning realtor, owner, and team leader of Boettcher Real Estate Group. If you're thinking of buying or selling in Saskatoon and want help from a top-producing local team, our contact information is in the description below. Let's start in Saskatoon. There were 589 residential sales in June. That was about 3% higher than June of last year, and roughly 22% above the 10-year average for the month. That is important because it shows that demand remains strong, even though buyers are dealing with higher prices and limited selection. Year-to-date sales are slightly below where they were at this point in 2025, but they're still well above normal long-term levels. So, the market has not slowed down in any major way. The real issue continues to be supply. Saskatoon saw 920 new listings in June. That was up about 17% compared with last year, which sounds like a meaningful increase. But total inventory still finished the month at 919 properties. That was lower than last year and about 43% below the 10-year average. This tells us that new listings are entering the market, but buyers are absorbing much of that supply before inventory can even build. Saskatoon had just 1.56 months of supply heading into July. That is well below what we would consider a balanced market. For buyers, that means competition is still common. For sellers, it means conditions remain favorable. The benchmark price rose to $448,400. That was up 4.4% from last year and set another all-time record after the previous record was set in May. The detached benchmark reached $520,900, up 5% year over year. Semi-detached homes reached $543,000, townhouses reached $371,000, apartment-style condos reached $263,000. Price growth remains broad across the market, not limited to one housing type. Detached homes also showed the strongest sales activity. There were 375 detached sales in June, up about 9% from last year. Townhouse sales declined and apartment sales were slightly lower, but those changes don't necessarily mean demand weakened. In many cases, buyers may have had fewer suitable options available in those categories. Another major trend is the shift in price ranges. Year-to-date activity has increased in the $600,000 to $699,000 range, and above $700,000. At the same time, fewer homes have sold below $400,000. That does not mean lower-priced homes are unwanted. It means there are fewer properties available in those price ranges, and many buyers are being pushed higher. Homes in Saskatoon took an average of 23 days to sell in June, but averages can hide what is happening on the ground. A properly priced home in a strong location can still sell within days. A home that needs work, shows poorly, or is priced too high can remain in the market much, much longer. The difference is becoming more noticeable as buyers compare the large number of new listings entering the market. Now, if we look at Martensville, they had 22 residential sales in June. That was an increase of more than 22% compared with last year. New listings increased sharply to 40, which was almost 74% higher than June 2025. Inventory rose to 30 properties, up 50% year over year. Those numbers may sound like Martensville suddenly has a lot more supply, but the market remains extremely tight. Inventory was still about 60% below the 10-year average. Martensville had just 1.36 months of supply. That was lower than Saskatoon and well within sellers' market territory. The benchmark price reached $453,200, up 2.9% from last year. The detached benchmark was $546,100. Townhouses had a benchmark price of $252,800, while apartment-style condos were at $269,000. The average property took about 20 days to sell. For buyers, Martensville may still offer attractive options, but good homes can move quickly. For sellers, the added number of new listings means buyers have more homes to compare. So pricing and presentation still matter very much. Lastly, looking at Warman, the city recorded 30 sales in June. That was down roughly 6% from last year. There were 47 new listings, up about 7%. Inventory also increased to 61 homes. Warman had 2.03 months of supply, which gave buyers slightly more choice than they had in Saskatoon or Martensville. But 2.03 months is still a really low number. The benchmark price reached $538,500, up 5% year over year. The detached benchmark was $577,600. The two-story benchmark was over $610,000. Townhouses reached $431,800, and apartment-style condos reached $291,700. One thing that stands out in Warman is the gap between the average price and the benchmark price. The average sale price was lower than last year, while the benchmark price actually increased. That can happen when fewer high-end homes sell during a specific month. The benchmark is usually the better measure of the market's overall direction because it adjusts for the type and quality of homes being sold. Homes in Warman took an average of 30 days to sell. That suggests buyers may still have a little more time than they do in parts of Saskatoon or Martensville, but strong detached homes can still sell much, much faster than the average. For buyers, June brought more new listings, but it did not bring a balanced market. You may have more options to view, but you are still competing for the best homes. The most important step is preparation. Have your financing in place, know your preferred neighborhoods, understand the recent comparable sales, and decide in advance which features are essential and which ones are flexible. This doesn't mean you should overpay. It means you need enough information to act with confidence when the right property does appear. For sellers, the market remains very strong. But the increase in new listings means you cannot assume every home will sell for any price. Buyers are still active, but they're paying close attention to condition, layout, location, and value. The homes that perform best are those that create a strong first impression and are priced to match current sales. A high starting price can reduce urgency and make a good home look less attractive beside its competition. For investors, the low supply environment continues to support resale values and rental demand. But higher purchase prices and borrowing costs mean the numbers need to work from the beginning. Look at realistic rent, mortgage payments, taxes, insurance, repairs, vacancy, and property management. Future appreciation should be treated as a possible benefit, not as the only reason to buy. For anyone moving to the Saskatoon area, each market offers something different. Saskatoon provides the largest range of neighborhoods, prices, property styles, and amenities. Warman offers newer detached homes and larger properties, but the entry price is usually a bit higher. Martensville can offer strong value in certain housing types, although the low inventory can make the search quite competitive. Your decision should come down to budget, commute, schools, lifestyle, and the type of home you want. To wrap things up, June confirmed that the Saskatoon area market remains very, very competitive. Sales are strong, inventory is still low, and prices continue to move upward. The increase in new listings is helpful, but it has not yet been enough to shift control away from the sellers. The biggest mistake buyers and sellers can make is treating the entire market as though every single property is performing the exact same way. Conditions can change by neighborhood, housing type, price range, and even by street. If you're planning to buy, sell, invest, or move to Saskatoon, Warman, or Martensville, my contact information is below. Reach out and I can help you understand the part of the market that matters most to you. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more Saskatoon real estate updates, local neighborhood information, and practical buying and selling advice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.